So do you actually need a full-size truck? Well, today we're gonna find out. So I understand this might be an obvious decision or choice for many people depending on how much truck you actually need. However, I think some people don't realize that this truck might actually be enough for you. So one of the key differences between these two trucks, both the full size as well as the compact, is going to be the overall footprint or physical dimensions of the truck itself. Now, because I've been driving the Silverado full-size truck for many weeks now, I understand that there are some drawbacks to having such a large vehicle, especially if you live in a more metropolitan area. Now, this particular area is kind of a suburban area, so it's not really tight spaces, tight parking, or anything like that. But I definitely understand the drawbacks of having something like a full-size truck in a downtown or metropolitan area. Now on the flip side, something like a compact SUV is going to be very easy to park, very similar to that of a compact, maybe a mid-size SUV depending on which one you're looking at. But in comparison to something longer than maybe a Chevy Suburban, the compact is definitely much easier to maneuver. So because of the smaller footprint and overall physical dimensions, you're going to notice this not only on the interior, especially in the back seat when you compare it to something like a crew cab pickup truck in the full-size segment, but also in the bed space behind the cabin on the total overall area that is available to you. So on the inside of the compact pickup truck, it's going to be noticeably more narrow than that of a full-size, again, mostly due to the width and overall physical limitations of a compact pickup, but it's going to be most noticeable in terms of length behind the front row seats in the second row, as well as continuing on in the bed space, again, due to the overall length of the vehicle, so they kind of have to split the difference between the back seat comfort as well as the overall usable bed space. So here in the back seat of a compact pickup truck, this is going to be the most noticeable difference in terms of roominess and overall volume and space you have. Now in that of a crew cab full-size truck, you have generous amounts of space. Typically you have anywhere between 8, 10, 12 inches of rear seat legroom depending on your height and where the seat is adjusted in front of you. But here in a compact pickup truck, you're going to have maybe 2 to 3 inches of rear legroom, again depending on where the front seat is adjusted and how tall you are. But overall, that is where the most noticeable difference in terms of interior volume space is going to be had, and like I mentioned, that continues on into the bed as well. So continuing out back, like I mentioned, the bed space is going to be another big difference between a compact and a full-size truck. Now this again might be obvious, but most compact trucks are going to have anywhere between a 4-foot bed to maybe 4.5-foot bed as seen on the Ford Maverick. Now typically a full-size truck, even in its shortest bed configuration, is going to be over 5.5 feet long. I believe the Silverado with the short bed is about 5.8 feet if I'm not mistaken. You can also get a standard length bed, which does put it over the 6-foot mark. So typically, even with a crew cab pickup truck, you're going to have a much larger bed, not only in terms of length, a little bit wider as well, and of course a little bit deeper. Now with that said, one of the big advantages with a compact truck is you can see the overall bed rail height. So I can easily reach inside the bed, touch the floor in almost any aspect around the entire bed space. Now over there on the Silverado, I cannot do the same. Now I might be able to reach over and grab something on the very edge of the bed without lowering the tailgate and getting inside the actual bed to reach what I need. However, that is a big advantage that I do like with compact, as well as some mid-size trucks as well, as the overall bed rail height is much lower than that of a full-size truck. Now, one of the interesting comparisons always made between compact trucks and mid-size as well as full-size trucks is the payload capacity. Now, payload is anything that a vehicle can carry or haul, so that includes people, pets, items such as water bottles, cargo bins, anything you can throw in the bed, basically adding to the vehicle that doesn't come from the factory is considered payload. So here, the Santa Cruz behind me is ready to haul 1,411 pounds worth of payload versus that of a full-size truck. Now this Silverado, being a 4-cylinder with a non-off-road package equipment, is rated a little bit higher than some full-size trucks with off-road equipment as well as larger engine options that are a little bit heavier. But this full-size truck is rated to haul 1,932 pounds worth of payload. So that is a big difference. However, if you compare some of the off-road capable trucks in the full-size segment, they are going to be very similar to that of a compact pickup. Now, when it comes to towing between a compact and a full-size, this is going to be where the biggest difference lies. So behind me, the Santa Cruz with the 2.5-liter turbo is ready to tow up to 5,000 pounds, where the Silverado with the 2.7 liter 4-cylinder turbo is rated to tow up to 9,000 pounds. So this is kind of on the lower end of things in terms of a full-size truck. They do go a little bit lower, but generally it's going to be between 8,000 to 9,000 pounds minimum. We're here on the compact pickup truck. This is going to be on the highest side of things at 5,000 pounds. So now that I mentioned the powertrains that each of these two vehicles have, let's compare them a little bit more because they actually aren't too different. So the Silverado behind me is equipped with the 2.7 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. Yes, a 4-cylinder engine is available here in the full-size segment of GM trucks. Now this engine puts out 310 horsepower and 430 pound-feet of torque, which is over 50 pound-feet of torque more than that of the 5.3 liter V8. Now the 2.7 is paired to an 8-speed torque-converted automatic, and of course 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive is available, as well as a single-speed transfer case as well as a 2-speed transfer case on certain trims with this engine. Now here in the Santa Cruz, or the compact pickup truck, this one has the more powerful 2.5 liter turbocharged engine, which puts out 281 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque through all 4 wheels, because this engine only comes with an all-wheel drive currently. Now this one is paired to an 8-speed transmission as well. However, this one is a dual clutch, specifically a wet type dual clutch transmission. So from that aspect, they are quite different, but we kind of look at the base layer, the spec sheets on paper, they aren't too much different. Both turbocharged 4 cylinders, both use an 8-speed transmission. Again, a very different type of transmission. But considering their turbocharged 4 cylinders, they both are very powerful. Now powertrain differences and similarities aside, they are going to drive quite differently just due to the overall platform and suspension setups that are underneath these vehicles. So when you consider the driving dynamics between a compact and a full-size truck, they are going to drive quite differently. Now this is due to the overall body structure as well as the suspension design. Now here in the full-size truck segment, most of them, if not all of them, are going to ride on a body-on-frame construction. So this means there's a frame in the vehicle, the body is basically mounted to the frame, and the suspension setup is going to either be a leaf spring or a coil spring in the rear suspension design, depending on which full-size truck you're looking at. And this will impact the overall ride quality, and again, it does help with the towing capacity and the overall capability of the truck, both on, off-road, again, towing, hauling, everything like that. So the body on frame is going to be more of an old school, kind of a heavier duty type of suspension and body structure setup. Now when we look at the compact pickup, this is going to be formed on a unibody structure or unibody platform where there's no frame that can be separated from the body. All these suspension structures are going to be mounted kind of directly to that unibody. And this is the same type of structure and platform that has been found under compact cars, compact SUVs, as well as now compact pickup trucks for many, many years. So this is going to feel more like a traditional kind of vehicle that most people are used to, most people are used to driving. So typically this is going to result in a more comfortable ride. This is going to result in a better handling vehicle. The vehicle itself is going to have less noise vibration harshness, or NVH. Overall, it's going to be a much more compliant vehicle, one that a lot of people are used to, like I said, and overall should make for a better daily driver. Now there are a lot of other aspects that go into these two designs, kind of the overall structures that they're based on, but that should cover the basics between the two. So if you've been following the channel and the Silverado series, I've been daily driving this Silverado for many weeks now, so I've gotten to feel what it's like to live with a full-size truck, how it drives, what its capabilities are, kind of just the interior space and cargo hauling capacities, and we will be doing towing in the future, so make sure to stay tuned for that. But in terms of a daily driver aspect, I would much prefer something of a compact pickup just for the overall driving dynamics, like I mentioned just a few minutes ago. That Santa Cruz over there should be much more nimble to drive on a daily basis. It's not going to feel a little bit floaty like the Silverado does. It's not going to have as much body lean going around corners or anything like that. And overall, the power to weight ratio should make that a little bit of a rocket ship, given it is pretty powerful for what it is. So again, the Silverado or full-size segment isn't bad, but on a daily basis, I would probably much prefer something like a compact truck, especially when you're not hauling any large objects or don't need the bed space or the large back seat here in this full-size Silverado. So just something to keep in mind is that a compact truck on a daily basis should feel a lot more nimble and just easier to maneuver. Now, yes, I'm not going to lie, it has been nice in the Silverado to have a little bit more ground clearance, you know, going over steep curbs, going over entrances into driveways and businesses and stuff. And especially heading into wintertime, driving in the snow, the extra ground clearance should help you out quite a bit in a full-size truck. Although the Santa Cruz is not bad in terms of ground clearance, it's just typical of that of a mid-size or compact SUV like I mentioned. So I guess it's nice if you want to. You can pretty much run over anything in a full-size truck. So just to wrap up this video in terms of whether you want or need a compact or a full-size truck. Now obviously there is a segment that sits between these two trucks, and that is the mid-size segment. So that includes vehicles such as the Chevy Colorado, the Toyota Tacoma, the Nissan Frontier, the Ford Ranger, many of which are going to have new generations out within the next year. So make sure to keep an eye out in the mid-size truck segment if you're kind of shopping in between these two segments. But there are a few questions you need to ask yourself as to which segment, I guess, best fits your needs. So I guess the first question to ask as to what size vehicle or truck you will need is, what will you be using the truck for? Will you be using it as a daily driver, just to haul one or two people around, a grocery getter, hauling people, family around, or will you actually needing the extra bed space of a larger pickup to haul items or tow a heavier load? So you really need to ask yourself, what will you be using the vehicle for? And maybe take the vehicle on an extended test drive from your local dealership if they allow such a thing. See if the vehicle will not only fit inside your garage or your parking space, but also whether or not it will actually fit your lifestyle. And the next question kind of builds upon this. How often will you need to be hauling or towing, and how heavy of a load will you need to be hauling or towing? And lastly, this one kind of builds on the first question as well, is what is your parking situation? Now, these are very different in terms of the physical dimensions and size. This impacts your maneuverability, not only driving, but also parking. So the Santa Cruz will fit in most garages, similar to that, like I said, of a compact or mid-size SUV. It's really not much longer. Now, when you look at a full-size truck, this is going to be at least as long as a large SUV, such as a Chevy Suburban or anything like that. So depending on your parking abilities and the overall space you have available, that will vary greatly. And again, the mid-size segment definitely sits between these two, but most mid-size trucks are going to be closer to a full-size in terms of their overall dimensions than that of a compact size. So with all that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed this kind of random video comparing a compact Santa Cruz to a full-size Chevy Silverado. Like I said, I think this was an interesting comparison to make, and one that I kind of just wanted to make for, I guess, knowledge and overview between the two segments of trucks, because I do think a lot of people could get away with a compact pickup out there, especially for the majority of their needs. Now, are there people out there that genuinely need a full-size truck on a daily basis? Sure. But I think there's a lot of people out there that buy a full-size truck just because it is a all-around vehicle, one that can haul the family on a daily basis, haul pets, anything like that here on the inside, especially with the crew cab configuration. But also they have the bed space when they need it every once in a while, whether they're towing or hauling or anything like that. But even that 4-foot bed over there in the Santa Cruz is very usable on the occasion that you actually need some space outside the cabin of the vehicle. So I definitely would consider a compact pickup depending on your needs once again. But if you need a full size or even a mid-size truck, I definitely understand why the appeal is there, even if you only need it every once in a while. So given I've been driving this Silverado for many weeks, would I buy a full-size truck if I only need the bed space, or I guess the overall size and towing, hauling capabilities on an occasional basis? Absolutely not. I definitely prefer the driving dynamics of a smaller vehicle, a compact, maybe a mid-sized type of vehicle on a daily basis. The driving dynamics, the handling, everything is going to be much better on paved roadways of that of a smaller vehicle, such as that of the Santa Cruz. Now, obviously, a full-size truck is going to do a little bit better off-road with the extra ground clearance, usually more aggressive tires, and different transfer cases and stuff like that for the drivetrain. But if I needed an occasional bed space, I definitely see how the Santa Cruz would fit my lifestyle best. Again, given that I don't need a super large vehicle, I'm not hauling around several children with car seats, several people, anything like that. And the extra 4-foot bed on the outside would come in handy if you need to haul something on the smaller side of things. And again, the payload capacity and towing capacity is relatively capable on that vehicle. So I definitely see how a Santa Cruz would fit my lifestyle best. But again, full size is an option if you need it. So let me know which one you guys would pick down in the comment section below. Would a compact fit your lifestyle better? Would a full size fit you better? Or something from the mid-size category? So once again, hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please hit that like button below. It greatly helps out these videos and the channel. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you guys are not already subscribed, and check out some of the other videos here in the 2023 Silverado 2.7 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder series. Again, I'm showing what it's like to live with a full-size truck from somebody that might not have any experience in the past, and also show what it's like to live with the 2.7 liter 4-cylinder here in a full-size truck. So once again, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, hope to see you guys in the next one.